Hey, I'm Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
On today's podcast, in celebration of International Guitar Month, Pete Townsend of The Who will join us.
Pete went deep with us into his relationship with the guitar and with music in general, the new Broadway version of Tommy. He clarified the status and the future of The Who, and much, much more.
Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters. Get it on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, yo, what's good? Check it out. This your boy Elder Sensei, one half of the legendary Artifacts. You are right now in tune to my man Tim Einenkel at the library on rapstation.com. Let's get it popping, y'all. Artifacts. Peace, Elder Sensei. I'm out.
Hear ye, hear ye. Yeah. In this future of hip-hop history, I'm here to bring on the people's champ, R.A. the Rugged Man.
New York MC R.A. the Rugged Man is one artist that seems to have experienced everything in the music world. He's gone through the ups and downs of the business. While most artists may very well have been discouraged from that, R.A. hasn't. R.A. is a true student of the art form and has constantly worked to develop his craft. I want to welcome R.A. the Rugged Man to the library with Tim Einenkel on rapstation.com.
Hey, how you doing, man?
So I want to start in the way beginning. When you first got your first big check from Jive Records, what were you doing before this? How did you find yourself in this situation with, I think, 9 labels trying to get you? And then what obstacles did you run into when you officially were a Jive artist?
Well, what I was doing before it, I was a kid in Long Island. So when I was a real little kid, I was 9 years old, I started working for the Carnival and traveling with the Silver Dollar Show Carnival all throughout. I was a carny. And then a paper boy when I did Carnival from 9 to 12 or 13, and a paper boy. Then I worked for the minibus company, the bus company, and was cleaning buses, and then my cousin had sheetrocking business. I was sheetrocking and got a job at the supermarket, got fired from that, got a job at Sears, got in trouble there. But through those years of me working, it was basically make some money, go in the studio, because it wasn't the era with home studios. Right. So every nickel I made went to studio. Even like prom, they were like, "You going to the prom?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm making a demo. I ain't paying for no prom," And then about 16, a couple people in the industry started taking notice, but the neighborhood all knew. As a little kid, 13, 14, I was known throughout the, areas like, "Oh, that kid, that little white kid, he's crazy. I'd go and battle everybody. But by the time I was 16, a couple industry people started, catching on. And then 17, I started getting deals, And by 18, I had a massive bidding war with all the labels, 9 deals, not all of them, but 9 deals from, Warner Brothers, Priority, Capitol, Def Jam, Tommy Boy, Mercury, Jive, like all of them, so they all wanted it. And then once it happened, once I got on the labels, I was wild. Long Island's wild. Chuck will tell you that, a little bit wild out there. So, I had that Long Island mentality, that rah-rah, break thing mentality. And you end up in this industry, you love music your whole life. And then all of a sudden you're in this industry where it becomes a game and this business that's not about a culture, and it's not about the music. It's not about what you're actually doing right. It's about a lot of other nonsense. So you got that rah-rah mentality, and you got, the devils in the industry trying to, exploit you. So you do some rah-rah actions,
What happens to, my understanding is that you got this big check from Jive. So what happens to an artist like yourself when it doesn't work out? What happens to the check? Do you have to give it back?
Well, here's the thing. That big check isn't that big check. You sign a deal. See, a lot of people don't know why I signed a deal for $1.8 million for a 6-album deal. So, $1.8 million, R.A. made millions, a millionaire. No. What that is, you get that money to do 6 albums, meaning the first album is probably $310,000 deal. So that's what you're starting off with. And they don't give you that all up front. They'll give you, say, $80,000 to start. Then when you do the next part, they'll give you another 80, and something like that. Those are the basic numbers. So you get your 80,000. Wow, I got $80,000. I'm broke my whole entire life. I put that check on my father's desk, like, yo, Papa, look at this. Bow, $80,000 check. He was like, son, I love rap music now. So it was real like that. But But then, you got your producer. I got my partner. You got to pay him, a good chunk of your. Then you got lawyer fees, and then you got studio costs. You got to record, out of that money, and so then when everything started going crazy, you get a little bit of the second half of your advance. But then there's, in my particular case, I got sued for sexual harassment, which was false. I could have beat it, but the label paid them off out of my money. Without my lawyer said no, that's they didn't even give the lawyer a chance. And in the contracts it had it like where if something like that happens, they take care of it and it comes out of me. So they took that money out of me, and then what was left over is I had to pay off the second. When I finally left the situation, I had money left, but my lawyer said you need to pay off the second halves of all the producers from the record. So I was like still pay the lawyer fees and pay accountant fees. So all of a sudden you go from a $1.8 million deal to 2 years later, you probably got, $400 to your name. Right. So, that's how that goes,
Marketing artists seems to be the most important thing a major label pushes. Today, actual skills seem less important than whether an artist is marketable. When you first started out, the label did not want to show your face. They wanted people to assume that you were black. Can you talk about that story? Also, it seems today that a white artist with lyrical skills like yourself would be the dream for our marketing. Do you think that's true? And also, what changed in the business from when you first were signed to kind of today?
Well, we live in a social media world now of celebrity, the Paris Hilton and the Kim Kardashians and the non-talent world. You don't need talent. What the music industry now is, they care about who's a celebrity, who can they make a celebrity, who's got an interesting look. There's a new kid who's got like a Uzi tattooed around his mouth, so all of a sudden there's talk about him, and then you got a character like a Riff Raff who got the MTV and BT and the weird hairstyle and a Panama James, who wears furs and got he's like more like a fashion statement. So it's not so much, those guys are not rappers like a Big Pun or let's bring it back to the 80s, the Canes. That's not. We're not living in that era. So they'll take a guy, like a Riff Raff over, say, a guy like Elzhi or Locksmith, who are like phenomenal, unbelievable MCs that could destroy rappers, and make great songs and make great music. They don't want that. They don't care about that. They want something that's what's going to get, shock, attention, and celebrity status, that's interesting to people that don't care about music. They care more about, oh, look, some wild happened, yeah. or this is bugged out, or check out, it's about characters and celebrity and personalities. So that's the game now. What you were saying about when I came in the game, a white boy lyricist type of thing, wasn't really the thing. And if they did have somebody, they still always had to add a gimmick onto it. Like, they had like, say, Everlast. So they said, okay, Everlast didn't sell no records when we had him with Ice-T and the LA Syndicate, and, that didn't do nothing. So now we got House of Pain, Shamrocks, Irish, beer. Let's market it to that community and show, white boy this, Irish. It's the same rapper, but now they marked him up to be, so for like a lot of white kids, it kind of was like that, In my particular case, they said, oh, okay, he's an artist with a kind of a lyrical sound. He can get. Let's market him as a lyricist, but not let anybody know he's white. So if we don't show his face, the black community will grasp him, the white community will grasp him, and then out of nowhere, once everybody says, "Oh, this lyricist guy is the man," then we'll go and show his face and go, "Yo, that's a white boy." That was the gimmick that they wanted to do. So even in the first single, it's almost like the picture is like in whiteface. It's like they took the drawing of the white face and put it in black with white hair and white beard and reversed it. So the actual photo is almost like a blackface picture that they put on the 12-inch single, the drawing.
Your race seems to play today. I mean, your race and your rhymes seem to play a big role for you. I was kind of wondering why. Like, is it a reaction to what happened? What you just talked about, what happened early in your career?
You live a certain lifestyle. I have a lot of the conscious rhymes, political rhymes, but at the same time, I have a lot of over the top, comedic comedy, poke fun at myself. So one of the, funny things to poke fun at is, big, goofy, sloppy white guy. So if the line sounds funny and cool, boom, 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 throw it in there. So it's not like I must, address the fact that the Caucasian MC is on the mic at this moment. It's never like that. If it's something in my life that came up and I could make a good little punchline, fun joke out of it and use that, I'll use it. I'll say something, but that's as deep as that gets. It's not like I'm affected by my childhood, because coming up in the era, like I said, the 80s, a lot of kids, it was the 5% Nation, was hip hop. It was the Poor Righteous Teachers. It was the Public Enemies. It was the X-Clans. So, I did get a lot of, from all the other MCs in my neighborhood. It would be like, yo, the White Devil. I heard a lot of that stuff. The Caucasoid and you heard a lot of that stuff. But you're just a kid, and it was fun, it was and it was never like, wow, this is scarring me. It was like, oh, my knucklehead. It's the same way, like you just talk nonsense with your boys and have fun with it, So, but in that time, it was to a lot of the MCs in my circles, they took a lot of the teachings from that era and tried to hit me in the head with it and act like I was an enemy. Right. So but. It's hip hop. That's hip hop stuff,
Just from reading interviews, it also, in your rhymes, you seem, and even talking to you right now, you seem very much against the kind of the whitewashing of by major labels of hip hop. And I'm only curious about this because, you obviously you're a white MC, you're extremely talented. Lyrically, your flow is incredible, and you're up there with the best of them, I think. But are there for you any internal struggles or any internal battles that you have? Kind of being a white MC in a black culture?
What's crazy is it's easier now because now white MCs are accepted on the regular, right. And in fact they're trying to take the title of black music away from hip hop. Right. So for a white MC to make a living now, it's almost like easier. I see a lot of black kids that rhyme that can't have world tours. When I see some white boys having some world tours, that like, yo, they're not even close to as good as this dude, but he's got the white fan base and tours, boom, boom, boom. So it's easier now for a white MC. Not me in particular. I spent 25 years rhyming and 20 years in the game. So it took me, But I'm saying as a whole, back in the day when I was coming up, hip hop culture and R&B, even Billboard charts, was the black music. Right. It wasn't the R&B charts or the urban charts. It was black music. And at the record labels, they had the black music department. And then when more white folks started doing music from the black music department and making black music, then all of a sudden it started becoming the urban music or the R&B music. They didn't want to use black music no more. They took it away. So in that up and coming era, when I was doing some things, I was doing that rah rowdy white boy shit. And and it was before 7-8 years before M, and M did that wild stuff. But before that, they were like, yo, who's this white kid coming into our culture and doing like this porno and saying the foul, why does he think he get away with that? But on the flip side, I was getting a lot of that stuff from, Just Ice, this, the original gangster hip hop. This record you're about to hear contains explicit, dirty lyrics like, your mother's, them dirty, foul mouthed MCs or Schoolie D. I was influenced by a lot of, those cats. Even Redman, like he, on Rated R, he was like, naughty and by nature, plus I'm down with OPP. The best part about it, I got it. Like, wow, those lyrics were very, very, very extreme. Probably more extreme than a lot of the stuff I said. But, I still had to work my way up to get the acceptance, And it's funny because, like, say KRS-One, when I first went to Jive, I said, oh, what's Chris think about me? And I think Fenster, one of them, was like, oh, he wasn't really blown away, blah, blah, blah. So I was like heartbroken, like, Chris don't like me, but I don't know, that's just by hearsay. I didn't know that. But then once I started paying a little dues, then I was in the tunnel. I seen Kenny Parker, Kara's brother, and that did all the Boogie Down Productions beats. Seen him in the tunnel, and he was like, yo, that every record label sucks joint. That's classic. Me and Chris would drive into our show and we would listen to that joint over and over for 6 hours. And I was like, oh, man, I just got my props from KRS One. Right. You know, I'll redeem myself from the guy at the label telling me Chris wasn't a fan, you know. So, you know, but, you know, and then I think through the years, then the Brand Nubians came up to me and Sadat, like, yo, I love your records. And, like, you know, all the gods started coming to me saying, yo, I'm a fan of your stuff, you know. And then it's just, you know, you got to work your way. You can't just show up and be like, hey, I'm a great rapper. Yeah, totally. You got to pay them dues a little bit, at least back then. Now you could just show up on the scene, you know, pump all his money behind the artist and give him a little image and a Twitter page, and they're accepted because it's not about music, actually. It's about, you know, this and that. You know what I mean? It's just a different era, you know?
Coming from that answer, is there, as you gain more fans and as you gain popularity and as you continue to develop your craft, is there a quote-unquote fear for you that you could get to the point where you will could become the face of hip-hop, or is that something that you're trying to avoid because you don't want hip-hop to have a white face?
You know what's funny though? Remember how I was talking about, like, you know, the black MCs in my hood that were, you know, into, you know, the white man is the devil and blah blah blah. On the flip side of that, now, this is because it was unacceptable. So then the white folks in the neighborhood who love hip hop now, but back then they were N-word lover, you N-word wannabe, you know, they're sitting there saying that you know, they were angry that I was a rapper. You know, the white folks hated me more than the black folks. The black folks actually in the neighborhood took me in and was like, yo, that little white boy could rhyme. Yeah. Yo, get him at the party. Yo, bring that white boy there. But the white kids, you go to like little white neighborhoods and they couldn't accept it. Oh, you want to be black. You're a wannabe black, you know. Now them same kids are the same ones saying, well, rap isn't black music, it's for everyone. The same kids that back in the day would be like, hey, you're an N-word lover for trying to do this music, you know. So the thing is, if there's a Caucasian face saying this is hip-hop, okay, that's cool because they embrace the culture. But the problem is when they take the culture and they pretend like the roots never existed. Like, you know, Grandmaster Caz never existed. Or see, here's the thing, too. A lot of times say, you know, oh, this MC, that, you know, they just pretend like the first decade or so didn't exist in hip-hop, and it was always this white culture that created by white folks, and a lot of young kids are, and they go, oh, look, the greatest rapper on the planet's Eminem, and he outsells everybody, and he runs the rap game, so forget everybody else. Like, those are actual comments that I read very often, you know, so that's not cool, and M wouldn't think that's cool. I don't think that's cool. No other white rapper thinks that's cool, but there's ignorance in the planet. And of course, they're going to rewrite history because they don't want to feel ignorant or they don't want to feel left out. You know, this is everyone's culture and we started it too. You know, I've seen comments where people be like, well, white people made the machines and the drum machines and this, and white people ran the label. Rap wouldn't exist without white people. So fuck anybody saying that it's black culture. It's crazy. But that's what we're up against. You know, and then people go, it's racist to even bring up race and call it black music. No, it's not. What's racist is to be threatened by the fact that it was a black culture. Not that it was, that it is a black culture and was started by black people in the black community. To try to be offended by that, to me, is racist, you know, because then the other comments you hear, they'll say, oh, you know, so is that like saying that Jimi Hendrix isn't welcomed in rock music? Idiot, you just rewrote the books. You're acting like rock music was started by white folks. That's the problem when they rewrite history, because everybody with knowledge knows that rock and roll was a black culture, black music started by black folks. But then white folks come in and they rewrite history and act like Jimi Hendrix was new and black people didn't do it before him and Elvis is the god. You know, that's what's not cool.
I asked that question because I'm just wondering if you're, for someone who obviously respects the culture, if you're worried that, I mean, let's say 10 years time, same thing that happened to rock music happens to rap music. Right.
It's already happened. You don't got to wait 10 years. It's already happened. You know, that's the bottom line. And I mean, it's been happening since white folks been doing rap records, though. I mean, Chuck, got all the love in the world for the Beasties. Everybody loves the Beasties. But when the Beasties album dropped, it sold 3.5 million records. It was the biggest rap album ever made at the time, sales-wise. Or biggest rap album, or one of them, top. I think it's the biggest selling album at the time that was hip-hop, 3.5 million copies. And now, was the Beastie Boys album the greatest rap album that ever was made at that time? No, it wasn't. Right. But it was great. It was a great album, great chemistry. Rick Rubin killed it. The whole, the Beastie Boys, fun. Everybody loved the records. But, it's like the white community was able to be like, whoa. And the black community heard the beats. And yeah. So everybody got to feel that one. And the white community grasped it. Same thing with, out of all the rappers that ever existed, then when Vanilla Ice came out, he had 11 million records sold. So the second, the only one that sold more was Hammer. Now, to only have the second best-selling rapper of all time is Vanilla Ice when he comes out of when there's only like 5 rappers that ever existed. And, the percentage shows you that it's race-oriented. Like, okay, we're going to buy white folks' music because we're white folks. That's what happens. So and then the same thing. Eminem comes out, he sells more records than every rapper in the history of rap music. And when you go, it's not that white rappers are better. It's that they market to a white audience to sell. Now Iggy Azalea, she's selling more than 90% of rappers on the planet Earth. She'll outsell every great lyricist. Because a white girl, big. And you know what I mean? So it's a marketable thing. But if you go for the percentage of white rappers that have been marketed on a mass scale, for them to be the highest sellers, period, that shows you the mentality of the masses and what's marketable to the masses, or what they decide is marketable to the masses, I
want to go back to something that you touched on. You talked about, listening to music in the 70s and soul music. And Legends Never Die, Daddy's Halo, You Spit. You talk about your father playing Sam Cooke and the Four Tops to you, and how you were really appreciative that he taught you about black music. How important do you think that is to you as a hip hop artist, and also how important do you think it is to future hip hop artists is to kind of know about this music, and as opposed to versus like being inspired by today's rap music?
Well, I learned everything from my dad, not just soul music. I learned everything from, and my mother, but, from boxing to movies to, well, not so much the movies, but to the music, But I think having music in your household is definitely a big plus for any artist, whether it's hip-hop or R&B or rock. Having the music in your household is a big factor. It's like almost like... the Gracie family, they train them Brazilians, once they come out, the little kids are fighting, so when you have a household that's full of music, which a lot of households in the community do have that, 4 or 5 years old, they're doing some dancing, doing some singing in the church, or doing some singing there, or this and that. That's always something that helps. So of course, like a kid coming up in the suburbs and they got a family that loves Wu-Tang Clan, and they played Wu-Tang for the kid their whole life, and now the kid's 19, 18, he might be spitting better bars because of that, or like a father that's a big fan of Nas album, because I'm thinking of the kids that were born in the 90s now, and now they're 15, 18 years old, influenced by these records that their mom and dad was listening to the house. So of course it's going to help, rather than someone that's never been exposed to hip-hop and then just starts rhyming when they're 15 years old and heard some new songs on the radio and trying to do that. Those rappers usually aren't going to be very good. Of course there's times where some of them will be. I'm saying, boxing. Cassius Clay goes to the gym. He's 8 years old, 9 years old. He's training. When you get things at a young age, it's always going to help you.
Another lyric that I like in Legends Never Die, Daddy's Halo, you say, "My only regret about not selling out is getting richer." What is selling out to you?
I was talking to my father. I said, my only regret about not selling out and getting richer is that I could have made millions and spent it with you. I was talking to my dad because my father passed away. Like, if I had, played the game the way they wanted to and made the music they wanted me to make, a lot of that money would have been mine. So that's my only regret, is that I couldn't, buy my pop a house, and I had to see my father broke a lot, and struggle every month and wait for his monthly check, because my father was, he was a struggling man. So, and he went through a lot of his years through poverty. So that's my only regret, is that I didn't come and take care of the family. I mean, I did, like, if my father was broke, I'd go to the house and buy him some groceries. Hey, let's go on a shopping spree at the supermarket, buy some groceries for the house. I did little things like that, but I didn't get to buy him a house or nothing crazy like that. That I would have liked, But the definition of selling out is when you're not true to yourself. It's so obvious. And sometimes when somebody makes a song that sounds commercial, people go, that's selling out. I don't agree with that either. I think if the artist loves the music he's making, and maybe it sounds commercial, maybe it doesn't. If it's a beautiful song to them and they're proud of it, and I love this record, and they love it, how's that selling out? Selling out is when you're making things that match the radio, that is whack, and you're just going to do it to, okay, this is going to get me more hits, so I'm going to make this whack record. Or not whack, but I'm going to make this, even though I'm not really happy, I don't really like it, but this is what's going to, make me sell more records. Or this feature is going to make me sell, triple platinum instead of one-time platinum. Or, that kind of sellout stuff. Or going against what you feel is true and saying things fake and lies just to gain fan bases, that's selling out. Just to say anything that... And not give your opinion and give fake opinions to the masses so that they accept you. That's some sellout stuff.
I want to keep talking about a few tracks in Legends Never Die. In Shoot Me in the Head, you spit, I'm the last one that should ever speak. I should say politics for Dead Prez and Immortal Technique.
Oh, yeah, that whole song is a comedy.
But there are times that you are political.
Yeah.
And for example, in Learn Truth with Talib Kweli. So when do you... I guess what inspires you to be political? What inspires you to be comedic, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, it depends what song it is. And Shoot Me in the Head, the whole thing is like, shoot me in my head, I'm a piece of ish, the whole thing's a curse word. I'm like every word in it's a curse, and I'm saying non-political things. It's a total comedy. It's a farce. And I got opera singers calling me names on it, singing. And so it's a comedy record. So... And then I go into this crazy political world where I'm actually making sense in a lot of ways against politicians, and I'm dropping some knowledge in it, but I'm saying it in a degenerate way. So as a comedy for the last line, I said, I'm the last one they should ever let speak. I should save politics for Dead Prez and Immortal Technique. Then the hook comes in, I'm a piece of... and dissing myself. So it's, one of them self-deprecating type records. So it's just a comedic line. So I know some people take it literal, but I was having fun, And when I decided to get political on records, it's not like a conscious decision where I'm like, this is the song, I'll be political. I pick up the pen, maybe something's bothering me, or maybe I have some kind of images in my head, and I say, okay, this is what's coming out of me. So it's not a conscious decision, like this will be my political record. It's just like I pick up the pen, I write, and when it heads in that direction, I go, okay, this is the direction we're going to go in this record. That's all. It's never ahead of time, except, sometimes I know when a song's going to be a degenerate record. Like this is some degenerate-ish that we're about to record, I
want to kind of talk about your writing process and also your development as an artist. First time I heard you was on Soundbombing 1. You seem to take, obvious pride in what you do and your lyrics, your breath control, kind of your flow. You take it seriously. For you, what's the best time to write?
Everybody has different ways to write, Like I talked to a guy like Master Ace, and he says, hey, if I don't feel it, I won't write for a couple weeks, and then when it comes out, I'm ready, Me, I'm kind of like, the strict regimen where it's like, okay, I'm writing today, I'm writing tomorrow. Like even if it's not coming out of me, I'll write whack bars just to be writing, almost like jogging, like right before the big marathon. Like let me write whack bars. If I'm writing whack bars for 2-3 days, oh okay, that's what it is. I'm writing whack bars, and then out of them whack bars, the good ones eventually come. It's like it's like exercising, exercising the brain for the big one, So that's how I write. I okay, if you ain't writing 16 good bars today, then you're writing 32 good bars tomorrow. Like
a track like Tom Thumb. How the hell did you come up with that? I think it was just. I mean, it's an incredible track in terms of you're showcasing your ability to spit in all lyrics. You change up. I mean, it seems like it's one of those tracks that you take us on a kind of a journey through every era of hip hop. Is this a track where you and producer Will Tell just kind of worked side by side in terms of the beat and the lyrics, or were the beat first and then the lyrics? How did this come together?
Well, no, this is how I do a lot of my album, though. I Will Tell gave the basic drum, snare, kick, and the melody, and I thought the beat wasn't full enough, so but I could just write to it all day. So I was like, I could write so many bars to this. But the beat, at first I was like, yeah, some dope 90s stuff, which that's what it was. It's like a throwback 90s type beat. I love it, and I could write to it all day. But then, like, when I did the verses, I'm like, it doesn't sound. It sounds like a beat and a rhyme, which what it was, Yeah. So then I said, okay, we got to go a little heavier with this. So then Tom Thumb is a famous beatboxer from Australia. He's won awards and tours the world beatboxing. He's a really great beatboxer. So I reached out to Tom. I said, listen, I want to give this more elements. Right now it's 90s. I want to make it 80s, and I want to make it 2010s. I want to. So you're gonna be my 80s element. So I'm gonna throw you in there doing some beatboxing, and he came with all these different elements of beatboxing throughout. So I was able to do all these beatbox drops, and then come back to Will Tell's 1990s beat, and then I was still like, you know what? It sounds like two eras. We need to make it more modern. So then I brought in the violinists. I knew this girl Sis on strings and this guy Brian who plays viola, and they did all these crazy violins on it, and it became like modern, old school, 80s, 90s, and a lot of people didn't get I was going for that. You're the first one I heard say that. Like, I got all these different eras in one record, and that's actually 100% what I was going for. So that's kind of dope that you called that, man.
As mentioned, your style, flow, lyrics, etc. You've developed. There's a weird way you seem more confident now in your flow, and like how to and in experimenting with different flow and lyrics. If that's true or not true, whatever. But how did your development as a lyricist come about from when you kind of first started out to now?
Well, it's not so much confident. What it was is that I got confident that I could do any era that I want, and that's why I think that my flow is like that, because a lot of the crazy fast flows that I do that a lot of people are impressed with is stuff that I was doing when I was a teenager. A lot of those, like a lot of those kind of flows were from my youth, and then in the 90s when the whole Nas, Raekwon, like this, it was almost Rakim did the serious, like straightforward, like I'm gonna rhyme and just be so lyrical and I'm the god. And then that then it turned into, and then there was the whole, Chuck and X-Clan. But then 91 started coming on, Heavy D started getting a little bit more fun with his flows. Even though he was 80s, Mr. Big Stuff. But I'm talking about like, he'll be like, stripper, hipper, like he was doing that wild stuff. And then there'd be like, and Grand Poobah came with that, step to the rear, Grand Poobah on, a little bit more fun. And then you had Chip Fu and Chub Rock and all these kind of different like flow type of artists that had fun with it. So in the mid 90s with all the Big Papa and all, it kind of, that fun kind of weird type of thing was kind of like, no, now we're about Mobb Deep, real, keep it real. So that silly Chip Fu, Positive K stuff ain't what we're doing in 97 and 96, and you know what I mean. So it started getting a little bit more serious, So then I kind of, and then I lost all my money with the label and this and that. So then I kind of stepped back a little and simplified my flow, which I shouldn't have done. But I did it. I said, okay, cool. I could rhyme, more simple like that. But then I slowly started bringing the fast flows and the wild flows back into my stuff for little pieces. And every time I did it, they'd be like, oh my God, R.A. killed that. Did you hear that part? I'm like, yo, I'm used to that when I'm 15. You know, so then slowly I started grabbing a lot of those flows and you know, and doing modernized on steroids versions of them too. But like, you know, so now what it is now I have, you know, I started rhyming as a little kid in the 80s, little boy in the 80s. So now I got 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. This is a bunch of different decades of, you know how many flows I've done in those decades? So now when I realize when I put on a beat, you don't have to be serious, Mobb Deep. You don't have to be this. You could, okay, this one I'm feeling 1980s. This one I'm feeling, okay, Tech Nine does that stuff. I'm going to do a RA thing on some strange music type of beat and watch what RA could do to that. You know, like I could do any flow that I want and I'm not held down to one style to try to, you know what I mean? So now I just rhyme any way I want, whenever I want, whatever kind of flow, whatever. And, you know, because certain flows aren't accepted on the radio. We don't give a hell about the radio. So we care about making great records. So now, okay, this one I'm going to mellow out and have a simple flow. But that's, you know, I don't care who plays it, but that's what feels to this beat. This one I'm going to go retarded, out of control flow. You know what I mean? And that's what you get on. I do whatever I want now. So that might be a little bit more of the confidence that you hear, you know.
Do you have a favorite era to flow in?
I like the era that I just mentioned. Okay. You know, I like them Grand Poobahs and Positive K's, and you know, I love the, you know, I love the Step to the Rear. Grand Poobah was on Arrival, raised in the ghetto, singing songs for, you know, and I love, you know, Kids in the Cribs want dibs from the big man. Can he come out? Slam a jam? I'm his number one fan. Yes, I am. You know, the whole Chubb Rock, and the whole, you know, I like that era, and I like, you know, the show stopping confident rhyme era too, like where even earlier where you take it and you go watch Houdini live today even, and you know Jalil, Ecstasy has that voice, you know, Party, he don't have crazy multis, you know, but that's not what rap is all about. You know, some rappers could have multis, some rappers don't need them. Listen to the voice when Ecstasy's voice comes out his mouth. You know, the party ain't till after dark. Man, until the party really start, I always had to be home by 10. That's an art form that's missing in hip-hop today, where people think, okay, I got multis, so I don't even have to sound good as an MC. My voice doesn't mean nothing. So, like, you know, I like all eras of hip-hop, you know. And then you go, today, I'm having this rap competition on my site. A little 16-year-old boy came in there and did some super triples, like flows with so ill, and he's a young boy. And the reason he's so nice is a kid named Afro. But the reason why he was so nice is because his influences are the golden era. You know, his favorite rappers, his little kid, 16 years old, favorite rappers, Big Daddy Kane. He listed all of them before he even know I heard his thing. Big Daddy Kane, me, Pharoah Monch, Rakim he loves, KRS-One he loves, a little boy though, and a big overweight kid with an image, is real and good strong voice. And then he said, "Oh, my favorite singers are Sam Cooke and Bill Withers." I was like, "Yo, this kid's the greatest kid of all time." So he educates himself on the music. That's why he's able to do so many great flows and be such a good rapper at his young age. You know.
Imagine you're like, you're sure you're 16? You're not like 50?
Yeah. Well, when he did the rhyme, he had a Rakim. He's like, Rakim taught me. So I thought he was like a 30-something-year-old dude, you know. And then he said, you know, like the KRS Blastmaster. And I was like, yeah, he's an older cat from my era. Cool, he's dope. He's killing it. This guy's killing it. I wonder where he's been. Then it was like, then at the end of the rhyme, he's like, and the 16-year-old boy. But I was like, what? And then I looked at the pictures of him, like, yo, he's a little 16-year-old kid. Big, big heavy set dude. Looks like kind of like a newer, wilder version of like, he's like Biggie and Chubb Rock mixed with an ODB type of.
As you mentioned, you announced this definition of a rap flow contest. You know, prizes include $500 cash and a Mr. Green produced vinyl single pressed by Nature Sounds. Judges include yourself, Talib Kweli, Locksmith, Murs, and obviously many others. What are you looking for in an MC when you're judging this contest?
Oh, I just wanted them to obliterate MCs. That's the rules. I said, yo, just obliterate MCs. Give us something new, you know. Give us something. Just be an incredible MC. And I had posted this one kid. People, he won already. I said, no, he didn't win because there's 7 other judges. Just because I like him. doesn't mean the boy won yet, you know. But and plus, there's still the contest doesn't end until September 30th, so there's more people coming to do it. So the boy didn't win yet, but I just, you know, if I like him, hey, I posted it up on my thing, and people are like, oh, he's just doing speed rap, he ain't lyrical. Like, he is lyrical. He's saying some fun, cool stuff. Not everything has to be, you know, a Nas type of lyric or a Mortal Technique kind of lyric. Like I said, it could be more on that fun Chubb Rock type of thing. And he had all these crazy flows, and you know, most people loved him, but the ones that did this, I'm like, oh, it's like, you can't do what he does. So don't say it's not good, because he's technically a lot better than you. But you want to say, oh, he's not lyrical because you can't do what he's doing. And then I looked at some of the kids' other music, and he was lyrical on some slow stuff too, so they could all, you know, back up off the boy, you know.
So is it based on one single, or is it based on ideally
one contest, one entry, you know? But you know what's great is that there's a couple boys out of England who did a couple, one white kid, one black kid, and they both went crazy. They obliterated it. And so, like, a lot of the great submissions were very early, so I said good. Because when you do a competition where you're saying, I'm looking for a great MC, the worst thing that could happen is a great MC doesn't enter, and you got all this mediocrity, and then you're like, here's the great MC winner, you know? So right off the bat, it's like, well, whoever wins is going to be great because we got great rappers already. So, you know, there's a lot of great kids who entered, a lot of great rappers that entered. I wish I knew the kids of the names of the English guys, but they're part of the same crew. And there's two of them, and they both did their own submission, and both of them, I was like, wow, these dudes is crazy, you know.
As you mentioned, you've been, you know, rhyming for 25 years. So far in your career, what track or tracks do you think from yourself kind of best define where you are right now in your career?
Well, you know, a track that I really like, I like my rhyme, and I like doing the rhyme, and people love when I do it. I really like the rhyme and the song I did with Tragedy and Hellraiser called The Renaissance 2.0. I really like that record, you know. It's not one of my best known, but I thought it was phenomenal. I really like that record a lot. But I love it. I love everything on Legends Never Die, my new album. I really love it. And the stuff I'm working on right now for the next album is my best work again. I'm going to make sure every album I do, that album will be better than the one before it, or I'm not going to be putting out albums no more. So this next album, the stuff I'm coming up with in the studio right now, because I want to keep improving, or I don't want to do it no more. So the new stuff I'm working on, I'm very, very, very proud of. I'm only like 5 to 7 rough songs done, but some of the stuff I got for this is really, really stuff that I'm really proud of so far. So I'm going to make sure that everything else on the album's that caliber or better than that, you know. So.
Just real quick before we go, how do you know, as an artist, how do you know you're satisfied with your final product? Like, what is your criteria for, knowing that, like, all right, I just nailed this song, the song's done, move on to the next? What's the criteria for you?
Well, I got Chris Conway, who's my engineer, who mixes my stuff, and I'm blessed to have him. Because the problem with my last album, before I found him, was I was looking for the right engineer for it. So, like, my rhymes was good, my choruses were right, the beats were right, but I just couldn't get the mix that I wanted, because a lot of the engineers from my era are out of business because everybody has home studios now and they all think they're professional engineers. Right. So you get all these mediocre mixes all over, and everything sounds like it's a mixtape. It don't even sound like a real record. So, and they all mix with these highs now. You know, they take the bass and the thump out of it, and I want mine to sound thick, hard, and solid, like a hip hop track. You know, so I don't got it on 2-inch reel, but I wish I did. But this is the closest thing to 2-inch reel that I'm going to get, and once it's on the board and it sounds beautiful from the mix, and I'm happy with the rhyme and the beat is right, and I put it in, then I'm happy. But it takes a lot of work for me to get happy. Like, I add a lot of elements to all my songs, and I keep going back and you know, doing little things to them until they're right, because I'm, you know, a little bit of a one-man gang, you know, so it takes some time. You know, well, I just said one-man gang, but then I just talked about Chris Conway. I do got a good team, so that was kind of selfish to say that, but Chris Conway, and then I got great producers who come in, you know, and hand great instrumentals, you know, Mr. Green and and Buck Wild and Mark Niles and Will Tell, like you had mentioned, and I got a lot of great producers who work with me. So C. Lance is a young kid who got some great beats too. So I got a lot of good people in my corner. So. But I'm a one-man gang as far as building the entire album as an album. That's what I meant by that. And I'm a one-man gang as far as putting the damn videos and the touring and getting everything, getting my own career popping. And sometimes I feel there's a lot of weight on my shoulders, so.
He's R.A. the Rugged Man. I want to thank him so much for joining me on The Library with Tim Einenkel on rapstation.com. Thank you, man.
No doubt. And thank my brother Chuck D, man. He always shows me so much love, man. And, that's one of my heroes. So every time he shouts me out and gives me love, I'm like a little kid, Like, oh, Chuck, shout me out. Chuck likes my stuff. Oh, Chuck is, Chuck's talking about me. Wow. It's like, it's a big deal. I appreciate stuff like that, And a lot of the people who I grew up listening to and who are the greatest rappers of all time show me a lot of love. Rakim, get on the phone with Rakim and I love what you're doing for the culture, man. I really do, R.A., man. You're doing beautiful things. Like, wow, Rakim, and Kane showing me love, and all the MCs that are the greatest of all time. Kool G Rap showing me love, and that's incredible to me, So I appreciate Chuck always doing that, and I appreciate being part of his show,
Yo, I'm uncontrollably gifted, I totally ripped it. I'm vocally vicious, naming the best ever. I'm supposed to be listed, even if I'm emotionally and overly twisted and socially timid. And every chick get left with a broken ovary when I hit it. The fans follow me like disciples. I'm Charlton Heston, not the Moses version. I'm the gun-toting version with the rifles. Don't let them crabs gas you when I'm jacking the rapper and ripping the jacket, attaching your ass and using a machete to slash you. I'll rob anyone anywhere under the jacket to flame. I'll pull a gun out at your wedding while your grandma do the Macarena. All these feminine rappers wanna see me dead and buried. Too many rappers is drag queen down, Tyler Perry. Sick of the similar imitating. I did it already, the pitiful paid him. The bigger the better debate him. You biting what I spit it already verbatim. I don't need to breathe when I rap. I got gills, fuck lungs. I'm like a superhero out of the toilet of the slums. Come on. Every verse like a firearm. Blasting you. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. Compared to me. Shacking up for the night at the crib with a B-movie actress. Shocking next to the bed and a wad of cash under the mattress. As a kid, I wasn't into theatrics. After school, my daddy used to teach me combative Green Beret tactics. My flow natural, you artificial. Beefed up, Barry Bonds and Balco. Rope and dog food, I spit heroin. Your rhymes are Alpo. I ain't into the tight jeans. I'm into bar brawls, brass knuckles, and bloody fight scenes. The mainstream pussies ever give me props? No, nada. It's like the Fox News giving props to Obama. Wait, I teach the children in the world the word hate. I eat pussy till every dyke on the earth turns straight. I'm disturbing with the grammar. I'm more disturbing than the bombing in the Baptist church in Birmingham, Alabama. I've been repping. I put a hit on any paper that my pen blessing. I'm nice with the hands. Each fist is a registered weapon. I leave you forever resting. I don't care if you beefed up steroids or what you bench pressing. I'm at the Best Western, tossing your girl salad with some French dressing. Hit you with a bat or a hatchet at the back of a ratchet. My flow ain't a rapper to match it. Too much lyricism to digest. I do it on purpose. 2 of my bars is more lyrical than 2 of your verses. Come on. Every verse like a firearm. Blasting you. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. Compared to me. Rugged man. There's something important you should tell them about right here. I tour the world. You're at home with your mama, I guess. Ass. Every night you get no ass. Suck my balls and choke on my dick. You bitch, you ain't shit compared to me.
Hey, I'm Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
On today's podcast, in celebration of International Guitar Month, Pete Townsend of The Who will join us.
Pete went deep with us into his relationship with the guitar and with music in general, the new Broadway version of Tommy. He clarified the status and the future of The Who, and much, much more.
Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters. Get it on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.